Imagine this. Your entire production batch, worth millions, is ready for release. But then, a single microbial count in your water system exceeds the limit. One small failure in your water plant doesn't just halt production, it can trigger a regulatory nightmare that lasts months. Why? Because water is the most widely used raw material in pharma. Today on Pharmalytics, we're going beyond the basics. We're breaking down the complex world of water generation and distribution plant qualification, strictly according to WHO Annex 2 and FDA requirements. Stick around, because by the end of this video, you'll know exactly how to handle a 3-phase qualification like a pro. Welcome back to the channel. I'm your host, and here at Pharmalytics, we simplify pharmaceutical engineering and compliance. Pharmaceutical water systems, whether for purified water or water for injection, aren't just about cleaning water. They are about consistent reliability. Regulatory bodies, like the WHO and EMA, demand proof that your system can handle seasonal variations and operational stress. Let's dive into the 4 critical stages of qualification. It starts on paper. DQ ensures your design meets user requirement specifications. Are the pipes stainless steel 316L? Is there a 1:100 slope for complete drainage? Is the system designed to prevent dead legs? If it's not right in the DQ, the rest of the qualification is built on a shaky foundation. So, think of installation qualification, or IQ, as the as-built check. Basically, you're verifying that every pump, valve, and sensor matches the P&ID, the piping and instrumentation diagram. You need traceability for every weld and calibration certificates for every single instrument. No certificate? Well, no compliance. Now, we turn the power on. Does the RO system hit the required flow rate? And does the alert trigger if the conductivity exceeds 1.3 microsiemens per centimeter? Operational qualification, or OQ, is all about proving the equipment operates within its specified, worst-case, limits, before we even test the water quality. The 3-phase performance qualification. This is honestly where most people get confused. Performance qualification, or PQ, isn't a 1-week job. It's usually a 1-year commitment to capture all those seasonal changes in feed water. Alright, so in this phase, which we call intensive monitoring, we're looking at a duration of about 2 to 4 weeks. The main goal here is to establish the operating ranges and to finalize our standard operating procedures, or SOPs. During this time, sampling is done every single day from every point of use, and also after every purification step, like after the multimedia filter, the softener, reverse osmosis, and the EDI. Just a quick note, you generally can't use this water for commercial production yet. This phase is really about gathering as much data as possible to make sure everything's running smoothly. Alright, so now we move into phase 2, which is all about routine monitoring. This phase usually lasts another 2 to 4 weeks. The main goal here is to show that you can consistently produce water using the standard operating procedures you developed in phase 1. You'll still be doing that same intensive daily sampling, but if your results look stable, you might actually get to start using the water for production. Of course, that's only with quality assurance approval. Next up is phase 3, which focuses on long-term stability. This phase takes up the remaining 10 to 11 months of your validation process. The goal here is to prove that your system is robust, even when faced with seasonal changes. Sampling frequency drops a bit, usually to weekly, or whatever your routine plan calls for, but you still need to cover all the critical points. And just so you know, this phase is what completes the validation lifecycle. Now, let's talk about a few critical regulatory reminders you definitely don't want to miss for your audit. First, biofilm control. Your distribution loop must maintain a turbulent flow, which means a Reynolds number greater than 4,000, or it needs to run at a high temperature, typically above 70 degrees Celsius, to keep bacterial growth in check. Also, when it comes to alert versus action limits, don't just stick to what the Pharmacopoeia says. Your internal alert limits should really be based on your own system's performance data. qualification isn't just a box to check. Honestly, it's the insurance policy for your product's safety. If you found this breakdown helpful, go ahead and hit that like button. It really helps the algorithm reach more pharma professionals like you. What's the biggest challenge you faced during a water system audit? I'd love to hear about it in the comments below. And hey, for more deep dives into GMP and engineering, don't forget to subscribe to Pharmalytics. I've also linked the WHO Annex 2 guidelines in the description for your reference. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.